Well, we started yesterday Psalm 12, and I want to invite you to turn there with me. Psalm 12. This is an 8-verse psalm. In a high view, a comprehensive, kind of a big takeaway view, it's a contrast of God's words versus man's words and how vulnerable we are in a world filled with deception, but how safe God is and how reliable and dependable His promises are. It's a great psalm. It's a psalm that gives us the durability that we need in the words and promises of God. In a world that's filled with false treachery, deception, false words, hidden agendas, hypocrisy. In a world when you don't really know who you can count on. David's saying you can always count on God. You can always count on His word. So let's read the first couple of verses. Help, Lord. Oh, I just want to stop there. Help, Lord. Do you ever get cynical about life? Do you ever get cynical about people? You ever feel like just throwing your hands up at the whole thing and going nuts to everybody? I'm just gonna hide out at my house. I'm gonna move to the woods. I'm just gonna withdraw from it all. Believe me, that's tempting for all of us. But that would be the wrong thing to do. God put you into this world. He put you onto this planet. He put you into your place. He put you into your community, your church, your world, your place to be salt and light. Don't hide the light under a bushel. Cry out for help. That's what David does. David is nearly overwhelmed in this moment, it seems to me, that he's nearly overwhelmed by the flood of deception and treachery to the point of cynicism. But instead of becoming cynical, instead of giving up, he does look up. He doesn't give up, he looks up. He cries out to God, God, I need your help. Now, this is really big. I just hope you'll capture this, okay? Left to themselves, our hearts will almost always respond the wrong way. Just given our instinctive flesh, sin nature responses, okay? Given our carnal responses, we will default to the wrong conclusions. We'll default to the wrong responses to people, at restaurants, at Walmart, on a plane, in an Uber, wherever we are. We'll just respond like everybody else. And David's looking at a really difficult day and a really difficult moment in time. And he needs help. He needs God to change his perspective. He needs God to give him clarity. He needs God to make him durable and ground him. He needs God to produce different responses. He doesn't want to do the wrong thing. He doesn't want to react the wrong way. He doesn't want to think the wrong way. And so he just begins by saying, help, Lord. And I can't tell you how powerful that prayer is. If we can catch ourselves in the moment where we're about, there's a split, there's a fraction of a second between the stimuli of a raging, broken, miserable, messy world and the response that it provokes out of us. There's a fraction of a second where if we could pause and catch ourselves, and boy, I'm preaching to myself, if we could catch ourselves before we let it fly, before we give that person a piece of our mind, before we just explode, or before we give up in reaction or despair or despondency, in that fraction of a moment, if we could remember God, and if we could say, oh, before I do that, before I say that, before I go there, before I give up, help, Lord. Now say it with me, okay? Help, Lord. Help me, Lord. Help me, Lord. He is a very present help in time of trouble. You know our problem? You know my problem? That fraction of a second goes by and I don't ask. I don't ask him. Before I know it, I've made a bigger mess. Before I know it, I've said what I shouldn't have said. I've done what I shouldn't have done. I've gone in my thoughts and attitudes where I shouldn't have gone. I reacted. And boy, The longer I live, the more I'm aware of those flaws in my own responses. And how brilliant is it to just pause, just stop for a minute, catch your breath, and say, Lord, help me. Lord, I need your help. In a million ways, God knows every detail that you'll face today. He knows every moment of your day and week and life, and he knows the right response every time. And he is a very present help in time of trouble. Boy, I just admire David for in the moment that he's nearly overwhelmed, that there's just hardly a good man. There's hardly a good woman. He can't find them, okay? The godly man ceaseth, he says. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But when he's nearly overwhelmed with cynicism, despondency, despair, negativity, he begins with help, Lord. I'll share this and then I'll wrap up for the day. We have a podcast that's about to be published that I recorded with Jonathan Hoover nearly a year ago. And it's a podcast about the health of spiritual leaders, the emotional health, the mental health. And I'm just looking forward to releasing it very soon. I hope you'll listen to it. It's on leading in the gospel, which is something we do every few weeks, maybe once a month. I'd like to do it every 2 weeks, but it's conversations about gospel leadership, and you'd benefit leading in the gospel. But this podcast, Jonathan was talking about how that some leaders are prone, when they begin to get depleted, they're prone to self-cynicism, cynicism about themselves. They get cynical about themselves, and how that is not really healthy. It can be objective. We can be our own critics, and in some regard that could be healthy, but when it becomes cynicism, that's not healthy. And what I see with David here is a similar kind of cynicism. He's not cynical in this moment about himself that we know of. Maybe he was. Maybe he's looking at his own life going, even my best efforts to be godly are failing me. So whether it's self-cynicism or sort of maybe it's internally projected, maybe it's externally projected, but a cynical spirit that just says, what good is any of this? Why try? There's no hope. I'm a mess. I'm not making any difference. I'm of really no value. I try and try and try and still fail. All of that cynicism can be disrupted in a moment with these two words, help, Lord. And I would personally testify that these two words are probably the two most important go-to words of my vocabulary. Lord, please help. I need God's help today in 1,000 ways that I don't even have time to tell you. We need to put a roof on our school. That's $600,000 that I don't have any idea where it's coming from. You know all I can do? Help, Lord. We got a school with 300 kids that needs a roof. Help, Lord. We need a parking lot at our church. That's probably another $500,000. But here's the thing. Am I despairing or despondent? Am I cynical? I would have been 8 years ago, but I've seen God provide a $100,000 roof and then another $100,000 roof. And I've seen him provide a $300,000 auditorium remodel and $100,000 of classrooms and nursery remodeling. I've seen him miraculously provide a $500,000 electrical renovation of the church and the school and new HVAC units, 18 of them. I mean, God's done miracles in the last 9 years in our ministry. It's been remarkable how he's provided and blessed and paved the way. So now it's, I would have been cynical 8 or 9 years ago. Now I'm a little bit nervous and a little bit worried, but mostly I'm just anticipating, like, how's God going to do this? How's he going to solve this problem? But those two words are so powerful, and they work in big things like I need a roof on the school, but they work in little ways too. Like, I really want to improve my relationship with this child, or I really want to help my wife go through this time. Help, Lord. Help, Lord. Or I really want to help our church this Sunday as we begin to talk about raising young children, having a young family. Help, Lord. All these things, all these challenges are bigger than me. And I suspect that you're dealing with challenges today that are bigger than you. But we have two words. We have two go-to words, and they just need to become a part of our vocabulary. They need to be woven into the core of our first responses. Help, Lord. Say it with me. Help, Lord. Hey, cry out today. He's there, he's active, and he will help you. Hey, happy Friday. Join us this weekend at 9 or 10:30. Thanks for joining me this week. I'll see you on Sunday or on Monday. Have a great day.